Hi, I am Kedger on Two Wheels, and let's go for the test rides on the Super Soco TC Max. Now, you can see that this is not the usual test track, because the usual test track is on a steep uphill, and 125s don't usually fare very well there. And I have the suspicion that this will not be able to do that in any representative way. This other road leading up to it is flat and has much of the same kind of turns, so let's see how it goes. This is a pure naked bike, so I don't really see the instruments like you don't, because they're nearly straight below my chin. I have to rotate my head at least 45 degrees to be able to look at it, to see what speed I'm at. Which is also not very easy to read, but that's the whole point of a naked bike. You don't really need to look at the instruments. Just you and the roads. Okay. Suspension is quite sporty. Sporty stiff. Not low quality stiff, but sporty stiff. I can feel every single little ripple on the ground. What is making my brain implode is that I can't brake with my foot, because the brake lever, the foot brake, is on your left hand instead of the clutch. And I still haven't gotten used to that even after a couple of days. On the other hand, this does free up your feet to be placed in the correct position, which is on the balls of the feet on the peg. Okay, it's steady on turns. It's very light, very easy to lean and to flip onto the turn, but it's not too nervous mid-corner. It is nervous mid-corner, but not too much. Mostly the nervousness comes from its very lightweight, not from the bike's geometry that doesn't work. Sometimes on some bikes the front doesn't feel connected to the rear, and that makes it a bit wobbly. On this one, it's just because it's just so unbelievably light. Sorry for the head-on sun, but it is what it is. Yeah, but take it to the absolute limit, and then the front starts to go nervous. Not bad, something that's very usual on 125s, but I can feel from a couple of bends that this center of gravity is very low. I would say because the engine is most likely the bottommost part of this bike. What's going on here? And since the engine is the very bottom of the bike, that's why. The battery is a bit up here, but still, the battery is about between my knees, but the heaviest part, which would be the engine and the battery, the engine itself is very low, so it feels like it has a very low center of gravity and a very centralized mass, so the whole mass is on the very center of the bike, front to back. And it's different. I've never actually felt this on any bike so far, because this one has all the mass stuck in this vertical line between the battery and the engine, so this gives it a very nice performance. That's why it's not wobbly, and it's just nervous from being light, and the rest is carried by the excellent placement of weight on the bike, so well designed. Now we are coming up to the test track, and so far absolutely excellent. This is an excellent road bike. Even with the limitation of the engine being only 7 horsepower, this is one excellent road bike. Now we're going to arrive at the middle of the test track, and let's go right to then double back. This part is downhill. Last few corners. I'm quite impressed. The tires seem good. I don't like the brand. at all. It's infamous, but these seem more than fine. Of course, nothing will beat some super sport tires on this, obviously, but the stock ones are not bad at all. And I quite like it, and it's a fun bike too. I'm being very serious because, well, it's a 125, so everything's happening in slow motion, but this is a fun bike. It's a lot of fun here. Let's see if we can test this in town. Here I go, braking with my feet again. Wrong, not the foot, the hands. So, test drive in town. Bit different from the usual spot, but it is what it is. Basically, the problem is I'm running out of daylight, I'm running out of time for the test ride, so it needs to be right now. It's not a perfect place, but then again, this might just be the perfect place. Different in town. Alcabdak or Alcabidesh. So we've tried it in the open road. Let's see it in its natural habitat, which is in town. Let's overtake this one right now, like so. I actually made the rear skid. There's very little grip on this cobblestone. Oh, hi there, kitty. And on this cobblestone, it's not bad. It's very unstable. This actually works pretty well. The cobblestone is very degraded, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not very harsh. The suspension is sporty, but it is good. It's well dampened. If I had to wager a guess, I would say the springs are medium and the dampers are on hards. But this is good quality suspension. I like it. I'm quite impressed. Wasn't expecting that, to be honest, especially because this is a relatively cheap electrical vehicle, because the scooter version of this is much more expensive, especially the version with 2 batteries, and this one just feels overall very good. Here, where shall we? Oh, well, let's see that little neighborhood up there. Little residential area, which is roughly where you're going to be taking this, and a couple of speed bumps where cars usually have a lot of pain. Not this. What I like about this little engine is that this works perfectly for in-towns. Look at this, accelerate full and off we go. And I noticed that when you're stopped, the acceleration isn't quite this fast. Look, stopped, let's let them go. No, full accelerate. Slow, 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 and now it's full. If I go like this and I just full throttle, it's a 125, but you are pushed back. It's a nifty little engine. There's a lot of torque in this, and I quite like this. Hey, this is a cool place. Didn't know this. So let's go right here. Why not? Wow, this is awesome. Because of this low center of gravity and very centralized mass, because every single weighty stuff is stuck in the middle of the bike, vertically, horizontally, this is ridiculously easy to ride here. Seriously, it's uncanny. It's like telepathic. I want to go there, and the bike just goes. Okay, can't go this way, can't go that way. Let's see if I can exit this way. And it is just so light and instinctive that at some point I think I'm not actually riding the bike. I'm just walking around exploring. That's the feel I have. You might have seen some hesitation here, rolling the handlebars to maximum, because I was very slow and the bike is very light, so any kind of input does things, and I want it to be very precise. So let's go this way. This is amazing. This is great for in town, as it should. Okay, yeah, to be honest, it needs to be this good in town. It's made for this, so if it wasn't good in town, it would be junk, basically. A 125 that doesn't work in town because it's clumsy is just useless. But this is really good. One thing I quite enjoy is that because of this low center of gravity and centralized mass and the whole geometry of the bike, it is uncanny uncannily easy to ride slowly. I'm going to go really slow and just putter around through here as if I was a bicycle. I don't even know how I'm going under 10, and I'm perfectly comfortable. This is relaxing. On a big bike, you're here kind of going, trying to maintain balance, but I'm not. I'm just completely relaxed. I can even go slower and slower. The bike just doesn't go any slower. Okay, still no feet. See? No feet and no problem. I'm not even trying to balance a lot. I'm just kind of relaxed on top of the bike. It just doesn't go anywhere. Drop down, you blithering idiots. Okay, and I'll just stop. Nothing. And I'm not using any specific technique or any... I'm not touching the brakes. I'm not doing anything. I'm not dragging brakes. I'm just rolling slowly. This is amazing. I love it. I've noticed this when I did a trip to work, and I was going in between cars, and you know when you're hesitant because maybe I'll fit, maybe he sees me, I'm not sure if I'm going to, and you're kind of hesitant. On a bike usually you stop and you put your foot down. On this one I saw myself just puttering around at that speed and not really caring. Okay, let's go slowly, evaluate if he sees me, if there's a gap enough, where are both cars going. It gives me time to relax, evaluate the situation, and then yeah, let's go. Then accelerate and push through. Give me one of these with the equivalent engine to a 600cc bike and we have a perfect motorcycle. I love the handling of this little 125 in town. It's just great. It's fantastic. I love it. And then there's the whole thing about it being an electrical vehicle, is that in town you don't have to think about clutch and gears and nothing. You can just concentrate on where you want to go and what you want to do, especially in high stress situations. Like, this is not a high stress situation, this is fairly straightforward, but let's say you're doing a roundabout in the middle of traffic, so you're filtering while you're trying to exit the roundabout, and there's cars crossing your path and trying to push through because there's a lot of traffic. And in between all of that, on a normal bike, you're also doing your working your clutch and keeping your between first and seconds and doing a lot of stuff, and this just removes most of that workload, so you just need to think about braking, accelerating, and where do you want to put the bike. That's why this is so instinctive to ride. It's just, you go, oh, I want to go that way, and it just goes. So that makes it very relaxing to ride in town. You know how a scooter is easy to ride in town because it's just accelerate and brake? It's the same thing. It's very easy to just skip around the cars and just move around. This is the exact same thing. So in town, and now we're reaching a more open part of town. What are you... No one knows how to do this intersection correctly. They have a whole lane for themselves, 2 of them. 1, 2. They don't need to come all the way over here, and you don't need to tell them to move. Okay, in a more open part of town, let's try this long corner here. If this guy will let me, he won't. This is just such a lovely bike to ride. Honestly, I'm really surprised. The other one from last week, the CPX, is a very good means of transportation. This is an actual motorcycle. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Seriously, a lot of fun. There's just a few things that could be improved to make this basically a perfect bike. Slightly more range, more power. I want this, but in a 600cc version. I'm not even asking 600cc. Give me the equivalent to a 450 or a 400cc bike with this, like something equivalent to, oh, that's nice, something equivalent to let's say 30 horsepower, 35 horsepower, and it'll be an amazing thing. I'm not even asking much more, because more power means bigger battery, means more weight, means more bulkiness, and more price tag. So it's not an easy thing to ask, but oh please, Mr. Engineers, you do that and you're going to turn the world on its head. Because this competes in price with the Japanese ones. I like its handling as much, if not even more, than the Japanese ones. It's really good. And you're driving for free, and you're spending roughly the same amount of money to ride for free on a bike that feels and handles just as good, if not better. You're just sacrificing a little bit, maybe of quality, but probably not reliability, because an electric engine has only one moving piece. It just cannot break down because there's nothing to break down. Malfunctions here are going to be on the other mechanical stuff, like, I don't know, the dash might misbehave. I've noticed that the needle sometimes gets stuck and then jumps up, so I guess the speedo counter is kind of iffy. Brakes, that kind of stuff. The rest of the bike has nothing to brake. It's just an electrical engine and some cabling. Oh man, I like it quite a lot. And so with that, I fare thee farewell. Don't forget, this is important, like, subscribe, and important, hit the bell so that you get the warning for the next video, which is going to be the proper review of this, with my thoughts for a longer period of time, not just the test ride, not just what I felt now, but what I felt over the days I've been with her. So a full proper review with close-ups and showing what you get for your money, all of that good stuff, not just a test ride again. So for that, you need to get the next video in the series, which should be around the next week, hopefully. And that's it. Cager out. GoPro, stop recording.